Hey seniors, so far we've been talking about writing equations in slope-intercept form and graphing those equations. Today we're going to continue with that, but we're going to be finding the equation of a line through two different points. So it's pretty simple, there's a lot of steps, so really make sure you are taking very, very, very good notes. Let's jump in. On your notes page, go ahead and draw your line and go ahead and write graph an equation from 2 points on the left-hand side. Alright, so I want to find the equation of a line through the points 3, 7, and 5, 11. And of course, I want to get these 2 points and write an equation in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope of my line and b is my y-intercept. Our very first step in doing this is to find the slope. And the way that we do that is we divide the change in y by the change in x to find the slope. And I want you to write this equation down on your notes page. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I'm sure you guys are wondering, what in the world is she talking about? Let's go back to our coordinates here. This is my first set of coordinates. And I'm going to go ahead and label it x1 for my 3 and y1 for my 7. And then I'm going to go ahead and label my second one x2 and y2. And the way that I did that was 3 is my x coordinate, 7 is my y coordinate, and since this is my first pair, I labeled it with a 1. And then I did the same thing over here, I just gave it a 2. So now it becomes really easy to just plug it in. I'm going to go ahead and plug in 11 for y2, and then 7 for y1. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my x's. 5 goes in for x2, and 3 goes in for x1. And then all I do is I solve this. 11 minus 7 is 4. 5 minus 3 is 2. 4 divided by 2 is just going to leave me with 2. And that's what m equals. I have a slope of 2. So I've already found one part of my equation. I just need to find my y-intercept. So let's do my next step. All right. Substitute the slope for m in y equals mx plus b. So I already did that. So at this point, our equation should look like y equals 2x plus b. All right. My next step is to pick one of these points and plug in the coordinates for my y and my x in order to solve for b. So it doesn't matter which one you pick. For this one, I'm going to pick 3, 7. So I'm going to plug in 7 for y and 3 for x. And then, of course, that's going to leave me with b. Whoops, and I actually have to make sure that I plug in 7 for y. All right, so all I have to do now is solve for b, and this becomes really easy. My 7 comes down. 2 times 3 is going to be 6, and I'm left with b. If I want to isolate b, I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. My 6's will cancel out. I'm going to be left with b equals 1, because 7 minus 6 is 1. So I have my entire equation now. All I have to do is plug b in, 1 in for b. We already solved for b, and then if I rewrite my equation in slope-intercept form, it becomes y equals 2x plus 1. So there's a lot of steps involved there, but we have our equation, and we could graph it if we wanted to. But let's do another example. All right. My first step here, go ahead and write down example 2, and then the 2 points, 4, 5, and 8, 7. I'm going to go ahead and label them immediately. 4 is my x1, 5 is my y1, 8 is my x2, and 7 is my y2. And the first step is to find m. And the way that I find m, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm just going to plug it in. 7 minus 5 over 8 minus 4. 7 minus 5 is going to leave me with 2. 8 minus 4 is going to leave me with 4. This reduces down to 1/2. So I know that m equals 1/2. Now all I have to do is plug in m in my equation. So right now, I have y equals 2x plus b. I need to figure out what b is. So I need to take my coordinates and plug them in for x and y. So I'm going to go ahead and pick 4 and 5. 5 goes in for y. 4 goes in for x. And then I just solve for b. This comes down. 2 times 4 is going to leave me with 8 plus b. If I subtract 8 from both sides to get b alone, I'm left with b equals -3. So since I have my slope and my y-intercept, I can go ahead and write my equation, which is y equals 1/2 x minus 3. And we could graph that if we wanted to. Let's go ahead and do that actually. If I have y equals 1/2 x minus 3, I know that negative 3 is going to be my y-intercept, and 1/2 is going to be my slope. When I graph these, I always start with my y-intercept, so I'm going to go ahead and put a dot on the graph where y is negative 3. And of course, I know that when I graph my slope, 1/2 is my rise over run. And that means that for every point, I'm going to rise 1 spot and go right 2 spots. Let's go ahead and do that. Up 1, over 2. Rise 1, run 2. Up 1, right 2. And then if I wanted to extend on this side of the graph, I would do the opposite. Down 1, left 2. Down 1, left 2. Down 1, left 2. And this will still give me a completely straight line. A lot of steps involved here, guys, but we are going to do this in guided practice and independent practice so we can get more practice with it. So let's go ahead and jump into that.